finals of the July 2018 Ladder Wars. On the bottom left of the map here we have the Random Empire. It is Berat against the Standard Empire. In the top right it is the Cyan Empire. It is AA. So with this, of course, Berat knows what factions he's up against, so he can tailor his build against his opponent. AA against Random can't quite do so. He's probably going to be a little bit more safe in his build order strategy, build order choice. So we're going to have to see what's going to come out from that. I'm probably expecting an earlier scout from the Cyan as well. But let's see how this goes. Currently, both players starting off exactly the same mirrored build orders. But a burst drone scout coming out from the Empire, who doesn't know what he's up against yet, which is probably a smart move, just to get a good, quick indication of what is going on. Luckily for him, he's going to see that he's actually against an Empire player, so maybe even behind this, is this going to simply sell off both the barracks? I wouldn't imagine a huge amount of infantry would really be coming out and just go right into this war factory and facility and mech a bit. I'll go through all the factions' vehicle producing structures before I get to the right one there. But anyway, the right thing to do here, and this is exactly what AA is doing, which is something that really you don't see enough, but you should see every single game in Empire Mirrors, is tank buster transports. They are so powerful. They're incredibly powerful. Mix them in with some Tengus, and I mean, I don't know why you only went for 3 there. Go for 5. Definitely, that was a bit of a blunder. And simply bring those over with some of those Tengus, and you can do so much damage. Essentially, the way to use them is, and if you've seen Red Alert 3 games at a high level, which you probably haven't seen recently, to be honest, because there haven't really been very many. As an Empire release anyway. Back to maybe like Zhang Zimin days and that type of stuff. He used to do pretty much this, and really the way to do it, the best way to use it, is to fly forward with your Tengus. Keep your tank busters nearby, but really the aim is to get the tank busters into your opponent's base, just escorting them with the Tengus. If you have a fight versus the Tengus, try to do it on the ground. Versus anything, try to do it on the ground, and just stop the escape with the Tengus. That's really how you use this. He's moving on forward though, disguised as a very unassuming harvester moving at light speed towards his base. And the Tengus are currently nowhere in sight. So a little bit of a risky play, but I mean, he's just simply trying to go on forward to try and kill the Older at this stage, so maybe it doesn't matter too much. I really should be moving in with his Tengus very shortly though, to give this a little bit more backup. Of course, now the Tengus count is relatively even. Neither player would really want to engage in the skies, but really, I mean, he doesn't want to move out of position with his tank buster transport either. He's going to try and get in the garrison here, but he's going to lose a few in the meantime. Maybe actually, I don't think he lost any there, which is decent. And wow, he's actually going to kill a Tengu. Oh, why did he sell that structure? Selling that structure meant that he lost 2 Tengus there. He didn't have to lose anything. That was a huge mistake. But now really, I would have just kept those in garrison for the time being and moved back and repair, because I mean, at the time being, you can't use this as an aggressive force when it's got so little health. Anyway, Tengus start to engage in the skies. A few more from the blue player, it seems. But focus firing from both players here. A little bit worse focus firing from AA. And Berat seems to be taking a better engagement despite having lost a couple of those early Tengus unnecessarily. Trying to stop the retreat out of this Tengu in the skies, but they end up having a 1-for-1 trade. And now, seeing as the tank busters have really gone out of the equation, at least for the time being, it might just simply be a Tengu spam. Another one starts in the skies, trying to get some harassment done with his own Tengus. Maybe we'll try and drop into this collector. A bit of a bad drop there. One gets inside the walls, but the other two in a little bit of an unusual scenario. Okay. Oh wow! That just happened. Splash damage is insane on these things. And because all those Tengus from AA were grouped up there, Berat got a surprising amount of damage done. flying around, trying to juke his opponent here with this Tengu. And it looks like he will indeed actually escape. Or at least might escape. It's going to be close. I don't really know if he wants to move all these Tengus out of position just to fight this single one, though. Maybe a couple. Maybe just simply one. Yeah, that's what he's doing now. Simply targeting it down. Oh, he's actually falling back now. This is all the interesting thing that's going on the map at this point, so, I mean, you're not missing anything. Everything that's going on in home is just simple. Oh, actually, scratch that. There is indeed a tier 2 transition out of the blue player. Out of Berat over here. So he's going to try and get into some tanks, try and get into some of these, maybe some VXs as well. But, really the power of the Tengu spam over this is you get the mobility, you get the potential to say, if you want to move out on the map, you have to have something at home, otherwise they'll just simply kill all the collectors. And that's the threat, so we're really going to depend on how he actually makes this work. Tengu from AA smartly just waiting around the back, waiting to get confirmation that his opponent's army is out of position before he simply moves on in to get some harassment done. And now he sees this, I would imagine he simply flies on forward and starts to get some harassment done himself. And there indeed he goes. Drops in on this first collector here. VX at home could potentially just lift off and kill this, to be honest, because it's a cooldown. But I don't think he wants to risk it anymore because it has gone about halfway through that cooldown now. Tier 2 from both players now, and they're both simply just waiting. So getting the transformation. Is he going to get the kill now? I mean, he could probably go in and at least secure this if he wanted to now, but I don't think he's quite paying attention there. VX from AA. Trying to focus down the VX of his opponent. And if he gets this, I mean, he could just simply focus down the rain Abbott from the skies. Second one joins the party. And decent engagement for AA there. Of course, there's nothing in the skies anymore, so really all these units are entirely forfeit. That's the issue with moving ahead with an army like this. I mean, it's just simply not that powerful. Tengus and VXs. It's more easier to use army, and if you're wasting money on these tanks, then just simply you focus down. You just build some extra VXs, focus down all the VXs from the skies, from the opponent from the skies, while having all the Tengus to soak. And unless they're focusing down, they're not going to do a huge amount of damage on you. More and more units coming on forward into the meat grinder. But it looks indeed like, again, AA is going to get the better side of this engagement. Might lose a VX in the process. But just simply another one comes on in and the tanks, they're not going to see another light of day. Simply too good. The trades have been too good for AA at this stage. It might not seem like a lot, but I mean, he's in such a good shape. He's actually going for another refinery behind this as well. And with tier 2 going to the high ground, being able to defend with VXs and Tengus, it's just a little bit safer. So I understand that move. But now, just in the meantime, just trying to keep up some aggression so he can go for this expansion behind it. Sending some Tengus in for some harassment. First collector does manage to get out safely. Second one in a little bit of trouble and will indeed go down. So interestingly enough, no honourable discharge. It looks like no honourable discharge out of blue, although I might have just misread that. Nice save from that Tengu there. Just forcing a little bit of lost mining time for that collector. But currently Berat unaware that his opponent has 50% more of an economy than him. I say that even more because he's also got the oil derrick. And the Tengu once again coming on in. Again, this is really just a sacrifice. If maybe he's just hoping to just cut down his entire opponent's economy because I mean he's not mining here. But I don't think he was aware. I don't think he was aware that that hasn't been moved out yet. If anything, just flying over has just brought that to his attention. It's really the unit count is going to be coming in favour of the Cyan player very shortly, and is going to exponentially grow. Finally deciding that he needs to go for the MCV cell because he's not mining well. Engineer is going to actually just get sniped. Probably a worthwhile trade. I like that trade. So Honourable actually completes the Sun Transport anyway, so that's just a little bit of wasted money at this stage anyway. Might as well disguise it as a VX, to be honest. Because, I mean, a Collector isn't a very threatening unit. If anything, this is just a decoy. You might as well disguise it as something which is threatening. I say that. It's a very small thing, because, to be honest, he's so far behind. I can't really see a way that he can get back into this game. Even if he did, let's say, get that engineer in a sudden transport, get across the map, capture an important structure, maybe the MCV, sell it off and go for the war factory. I don't even know if that would be enough. It would force an all-in from AA, but I still think he would have enough units to simply outright win the game. Constantly keeping up the pressure. One of the collectors does stay alive and actually has a spare. Actually, I say that. That's actually just coming out. That's the sudden transport. You might not fool your opponent, but you at least did fool me. Even though I literally just said it 5 seconds before. So, still just continuing to build up the units to defend. He knows his opponent's behind. Of course, selling your MCV means that no more point defense zones can come out, which means once this wears off for Berat, his units are just going to be exponentially less powerful for the remainder of this game. Really, AA has no reason to attack. He has no reason to be aggressive. He might as well just stay back, control the map, and force his opponent to come to him. Berat, with the MCV cell, has to be aggressive now. He can't hold back. And again, I do like the constantly just sending Tengus around the map, because of course, with this tier 2 army, as I said before, if you're out on the map, it's not a... It has to all stay together. It's very immobile, and you can't really very easily stop harassment. Sending keeping one tank back is a good way of doing this. But in the meantime, you're just losing more mining time. And if he loses a single collector, I mean, that's huge. And it's simply, the army out of AA is bigger in every single regard. As soon as you see this, I would like them to simply tap out, because I mean, there's no way you can kill it. There's no micro in the world, and no bad micro from the other player that could possibly win you that fight. VXs lift off to the skies, tanks moving, marching across the map. Marching, treading across the map. The one thing I would say is he doesn't have that much anti-air, and there are quite a few VXs. Oh, I say that now, he does have some more VXs, I didn't see that. 4 extra units waiting by the tanks there. Berat waiting in this game, kind of just delaying the inevitable. I don't see why he doesn't seem to lead at this point. Honourable Discharge, so Emperor's Rage, and Point Defense Zones versus plain units, all simply going in, sacrificing themselves right away, not even, well, barely any kills, only Honourable Discharge really doing anything. And that's it. AA will comfortably take game number 1. There goes the final unit, and I mean, finally, Berat says GG. And that's the end of game number 1. AA has the first win. Hello and welcome to game number 2. Again, this is going to be another Empire Mirror. Random from the other player as well. But anyway, left of Infinity L this time around, we have the Cyan normal Empire player. It is AA on Dognose. And on the right, the random Empire, again random Empire I should say, it is Berat. So again, I'll reiterate once again, the slight advantage that you get in the matchup being random, because of course you know what your opponent is, your opponent doesn't know what you are, so you can't tailor your build. But this time around, he's starting off with 2 barracks against the opponent, which is only starting off, well, actually 2 each. But again, it just means that it forces out the early burst drone from his opponent. Doesn't really need to get one of his own, because there's not really a huge threat of a cheese strategy if you're against random. Again, tank busters coming on out, and they will be used in a very similar way to last time. I hope they're used in the way that I was saying last game. I'll go into it again in a minute. But really, tank buster transport is really helpful in the matchup, really powerful. Should be used every single game in Empire Mirrors. Every game they're not, well, it's just a mistake, really. Mistake / not knowing how to play the matchup. Essentially, I'll go into it again. So yeah, tank buster transport's really powerful. Rip Tengus to shreds. But the way to use them is not to send them in on their own like he's doing right now. The way to use them is to wait for Tengus, keep them both together, and just use them as a very powerful force. Because essentially just rip the units to shreds on the ground and stop the retreat with the Tengus. Slowly move further and further towards your opponent's base and get the damage done. But now, moving potentially a little bit too far forward preemptively here. And I mean, the tank busters started to break down one of the walls going into the refinery. Will they actually manage to get it or not? Tengu taking a lot of damage. Doesn't want to attack this. Splitting off, very well done from him there to minimise honourable discharge damage, but doesn't want to just take the damage. The first kill was questionable. The second one, I mean, the second focus fire was just a waste. That would have been nice from AA if he actually used it correctly, but it was just bad use of the tank buster transport, to be honest. Didn't use it to its full effect, and in turn, only really killed a single Tengu, and lost a lot more money in the meantime, in the process. So far, the advantage, without a doubt, goes to the purple player. I say that, somehow he's got an even amount of Tengus, because he's not spending his money. So he's got that extra money in the bank, but if this spam continues, eventually the money will run out, and he will get the advantage. But moving across the map, a little bit of bad focus fire from one side there, but it seems like Berat is again just getting the better engagement in the skies, better focus fire, similar to last game, and looks like he will indeed take the lead. Again, just focusing down more of the Tengus, and really just the way this matchup goes, if it just simply descends into anarchy, which is the Tengu spam, it simply goes down to sheer numbers. And if you have more Tengus, you will have the advantage. But really, that comes into effect more if you simply focus down your opponent's units. In the meantime, there's slight harassment from AA there. It is AA, right? Yeah. Now we'll just attempt to retreat, just living with a small amount of damage that he did get done there. Happy, perfectly content, shaving off a little bit of health and a little bit of mining time from his opponent. And I think he's just forcing the entire army of his opponent out of position, and AA realises this, simply moves on in. Attempted to, but then realised after that Tengu fell, I mean, he's going to move on back. I'm not going to get anything done anymore. Imperial Warrior on his suicide mission didn't really achieve very much. Just went in, had his final meal, saw flashbacks of his childhood, and that was the end of his day. Just small groups of Tengus coming on in for the Cyan player, but really nothing getting done. He's wasting units everywhere, left, right, and centre. And with that extra few units dying at the start, that extra huge chunk of credits going down the drain from that tank buster transport, and they're fighting the skies. I mean, Berat's surely going to be looking. He's going to be very happy with the position he's in. I can't see a way that AA can win this. That army count, that tank count from Berat is massive. And AA transitions into tanks. maybe hoping that he can catch his opponent off guard, but if you wanted to do that, wait for a few before moving in, because a single tank is not a threat. Especially when there's no collector there. Yeah, at this stage, Tengu's, as you can see, is moving across the map. They're going to have no problem simply dropping down, killing all these collectors, forcing the MCV cell, and at that stage, it may as well just be game over. A little bit of a bug there. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but you can somehow. So that made sense. You could attack to the wall because this wall hadn't been built, but this one maybe it's a bit of a bug. So forcing one of the collectors off the line is something, but he's actually killed a collector. Now a VX is going to be coming out and cleaning up these tanks, and once that's done, I mean, during all of this, the Tengus from Berat could have been across the map, killing all these collectors. There's nothing to defend them. Yeah, a couple of units, but that's not going to do the job. Once they go down, force the MCV cell, like I said, and eventually that'll just snowball into the win from a position like this. That is a checkmate move, but he just doesn't seem to be going for it. He's just waiting, he's hesitant, and he's just not making any decisive decision on what to go for. And he's actually getting behind. He's actually falling behind, if anything, because he's not mining well. Yes, he's still ahead, and he's got a huge advantage, but simply not attacking is his downfall. Continuing to build up these tier 2 heavy hitting units is AA, Berat. Maybe just more Tengus, maybe some more VXs now, because I mean he fully controls the skies. May as well just spam out some more Tengus. And not going for point defense stones, because that's not useful, apparently. Again, just being hesitant, and nicely done out of AA. I don't agree with him going in now. I was just about to compliment him, but I spoke too soon. I was just about to say, if he simply, I was just about to say, sending a couple of these Tengus around the side and waiting for the good time to strike would have been a good move. But instead, he's just simply sent them both in and sacrificed them. The way to do that would be, essentially, as I said in one of the previous games as well, send your Tengus around the side, wait for your opponent to be out of position. Once he's out of position, move in with your Tengus, force a lost mining time, maybe even kill a collector. If you move in like this, you're just going to lose your Tengus. Lifts up to the skies with point defense stones, Tengus and VXs all heavily armoured up. Will they be able to defend? Of course, there are fewer VXs on the ground that are in the skies for the purple player. So I can't imagine a huge amount of damage. Oh, he's scouted the refinery as well. And that's going to simply be the next target. There's no way he can defend this. He may as well just sell it off, to be honest. Once it's actually fully built. Because, I mean, he's not even going to get a single... Yeah, there it goes. 2,500 credits spent. 407 got from the cell. Good harassment from Berat there. Finally moves in, but I mean... Still... You can win the game if you simply move in. I don't understand his hesitance. I don't understand why he's staying back and allowing the potential chance for his opponent to come in with some harassment and try and get back in the game, as you can see. This game was over a good 10 minutes ago. But I don't think Berat knew. I mean, Berat knows he's so far ahead. There's no way he can't know he's so far ahead. But for some reason he's not attacking. He's ahead because of his army. He's not ahead because of the economy. If he wanted to, he could expand. If he wanted to, he could attack. But doing nothing is just a waste. So now, seeing these Tengus run aside, I want to see AA do what I said before. But again, this moving over his opponent's vision, if you wanted to do so, is a mistake in itself. And again, he's just moving on forward, knowing where his opponent is. Well, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, so I'll not mention that. Not technically the glitch / the banned exploit, so I'll not go into too much detail about that. Nevertheless, 2 Tengus come on in, as I was mentioned about before, getting some lost mining time, but wasting more money on the actual Tengu than he actually gains, so no real benefit there. Now, all I want to see is, like I said 10 minutes ago, Berat's actually attack. He has far more units than he needs. He could do this with half the amount of units and still win easily. Sorry for this game, guys. I mean, I can't do anything about what these guys are doing. I know it must be horrible to watch, because I mean, it's horrible to commentate. If only half of the chat falls asleep during this game, I will be happy. I'll take that as a win. Because I'm like dozing off during this game as well. So again, there's more Tengus die, come in and sacrifice themselves, don't get any damage done. Is this a repeat of everything that's happened all throughout the game already? I mean, if AA wants to win, he has to do what I said. If Berat wants to win, all he has to do is attack. But neither player were doing anything. So that's something happened here. I don't know. I really don't care at this stage anymore. Maybe some harassment. The collector goes back to try and repair. I don't know why this one's coming on in here. Maybe. Okay, kind of makes a bit of sense to be fair. Just moving this one down here so he can mine full time, but this one goes in for repairs while he's in next to the mecha there. But now finally keeping up the harassment, at least doing something. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see Berat actually do something. Finally there's an MCV cell as AA realizes. Again, this is just me saying it. This is finally what I said would happen. But 15 minutes ago now, I said, if Berat, as he had the advantage, simply came in, did some harassment on these collectors, it would force the MCV cell, which it did. Finally! It's done! It's over! Oh my god. Wow. It's over. Berat wins. Okay. Done. I can calm down now. 1-1. Let's get into the next game. Hello and welcome to game number 3 for the July 2018 Ladder Wars Finals. On the left of the map we have the Cyan Empire player. It is AA. Losing the last game, choosing this map as his map of choice, Clan Republic, against his opponent. Sign for the Crane. It is the Purple Soviets, random Soviets I should say, Berat. So the Crane on this map offers a couple of potential possibilities. Quite versatile in the matchup. One option is to simply go for a push, Tesla push, try and get some damage done over here with your MCV. Alternatively, you can go eco, you can try and expand up, and then maybe downwards afterwards, and just try and get your economy booming from a very early stage in the game. But seeing the way that these walls are built, and seeing that he's blocked off this path, it's implying that he's going to be going for some sort of push. And with the bears coming out in such abundance, it would also imply, then again, this is against Empire, so I guess It's just pointless. If it were against another faction, it would imply some sort of anti-scout, but I mean, you can't do that. Versus these burst drones, which are coming out, and he's going to see exactly what's going on, despite running directly into the anti-air. And the MCV not packing up. So is actually this going to simply be an airfield? Is he using his MCV to build walls? I don't understand what he's doing here. Either during this, you pack up your MCV and move up. Maybe he's waiting because he doesn't want to move on low power. But I mean, even still, it's worthwhile to do. He's now self. I don't get what he's doing. I don't understand the build order. I give you all the information that I could have done before the game started about what could have potentially happened, but now he's going into the airfield, and now he's moving. But this is going to be so delayed. And now he's going to try and capture an oil derrick with a very late engineer, which, as you can see, dojos are out. And Tengus. Yeah, as I've said, I don't understand what's going on here. I gave all the information I could have done before about what could have happened, but it doesn't look like any of that is actually happening. Now he's actually moving up. He's gone for a crane into an airfield, into an expansion behind this. Which, okay, the crane and airfield makes sense. That's okay. But it's such a late expansion, and he's just, the way he's done it, and the engineer is just a bit counterintuitive. Oh, okay, almost got the engineer. That would have been nice. That would have been something. Some solace in the Q move that he's just done to get all of his units over here. Literally, all of his scouts started moving across the map because he clicked Q and just started moving all of his units over the top. Anyway, I'll try and be nice to these players. He's building some Tengus and he's moving across the map. Has both the old derricks now, so it has the better economy, and he's starting to look and try and get some sort of aggression in. The airfield out from the Soviet player, of course, for MiGs, will be able to contest the skies, but with nothing to stop. With nothing else in the skies, I mean, the Tengus can simply drop to the ground. There's no twin blades out to really stop them from really doing the damage, really actually getting the kills. So taking the engagement to him, it's a risky move, fighting over the crane. Loses one of them early on, not focusing them down really well. But so far, decent engagement out of the Soviet player. Saying that, he just simply has too few units, and I mean, could have stayed in the engagement there. But I think, considering the position he was in, I think decent engagement out of the Soviets, but it was just never going to be enough. No twin blades are out. Still no third refinery. If you're going to go for a crane, you need to do one of the things that I said. Either go for a push with a Tesla coil, or get economy up and running. If you go for neither of them, it's not worthwhile. So good trades, good engagement, just a good start overall from AA. And Berat, I just don't see his game plan. I don't see where he's going with what he's doing at the moment. So moves in again, trying to be aggressive with these MiGs, but he had a chance when he was fighting over the crane, getting some repairs, but moving aggressive against someone who has far more units, it's never going to work. I mean, why would he take this fight? MiG, I don't understand why he would do that. MiGs are cheap, MiGs are more expensive than Tengus, and he didn't even get the kill. I mean, as I said before in a previous series, I can try and explain what people are doing if what they're doing makes sense. But if it doesn't, I can't. I can't explain this stuff. What they're doing is just simply bad. That was just bad. There's no sugarcoating it. That was just a bad move, and there's just bad moves throughout the game. The build order is not good. Berat should lose. I don't see any other way around it. Tengu's coming on in. Again, camping the airfield. Trying to get some harassment. He's going to move up and see there's not even a third refinery here. He's going to think, I don't understand this game either. I think AA is as confused as I am. And now he's just going to go in for a killing blow. A little bit of splash damage on these Tengus, but again, he's just got so many. And Berat doesn't have a thing. He's got a twin bird at the top right of the map, which, does it have anything in it?
Make a tango, let's go!
No, it doesn't. He's got a bear, and that's the entirety of his army. So, I mean, yeah, the game's over. The longer it goes on, AA is going to get further and further ahead. There's no way he can defend his Tengus. I mean, yeah, he's not killing them, but they're not mining. It's checkmate. It's over. Is he trying to get his crane in his MTV in his crane so he can get Tesla coil? I think that might be what he's doing here, but that's not going to even be enough because surely he's teching up now, and surely he's going for a third refinery. Is he going to go cash bounty in and put it in the crane? No, he's not. He's going to go over the drop and put it in the crane. For those of you who didn't know, if you use cash bounty on your MCV and then put it in, or cash bounty on anything and put it in the crane usually gives you 3/4 of the cost of the unit pack. Cash bounty gives you a quarter. So if you cash bounty and then put it in the crane, it gives you the full amount back. That's generally, I say generally used if you see aggressive crane crush strategies, but you don't really see many of those these days.
Catch me!
And there we go. It finally takes the win. Berat has to tap out, and that is going to be 2-1 to AA. Hello and welcome to game number 4 here on Industrial Strength for the July 2018 Ladder Wars Finals. On the bottom left of the map we have the random Soviets player. It is Berat. Starting off with 2 racks versus opponent, the Cyan Empire, AA. So, doesn't know what he's up against quite yet, but thinks it's going to be safe enough to start off with 3 dojos. Probably the safest way of starting. So he doesn't know what he's up against yet, but it's going to be a lot of conscripts coming on out. Not yet any flax though, so a bit unusual considering he knows he's against Empire. Okay. See if he makes this work. Generally you'll see a couple of flax just to simply take down these crush cores. Because of course, if you don't, they'll simply rip these conscripts to shreds. So it's going to simply be moving on forward, taking these garrisons, and he's not even going to be contesting these oil directs, which is really one of the powers of this. And behind it, he's going for. So essentially, the way he's doing this, I'm not really a big fan to be honest, because essentially, he's building a lot of conscripts, but he's not going for oil. He's essentially saying, "I'm going to have a lot of units. They're not going to do anything, and yet I'm going to be going for both these refineries before I do anything with them." But he now has a lot of conscripts and he's moving on forward. If maybe he wanted to move on forward with any built a war factory next, potentially, he could have had a war factory before this, got a Pterodon out and being aggressive. But you really have 2 options. You can either do this and go for a war factory and try and be aggressive, or you can go for the oil directs and play the economic game and still be aggressive behind it. Have like the middle ground. But now the way it's gone, I really just don't like the build out of Berat. Nevertheless, is sending a proxy dojo forward, and he's actually potentially going to simply try and one thing he could do is build a wall here, wall here, get an engineer, and use the burst stone to destroy the wall in front. That would be a lovely move if he can do that and capture the refinery. Although I'm kind of a bit hesitant. I think he's going for tank busters. That would have been a nice move, but instead yeah. I don't think he will do it. That's disappointing. That would have been nice. Yeah, this is a bad move. He could have done it the way that I suggested, but instead now he's going to have this camped and it's not going to work. So, good in principle, good in theory, bad in practice. Anyway, Tengu's now coming in to join the party. Drop down, suppose one of the collectors off the line does get one of them infected, and there is the engineer now, breaks on down the wall, and there is the refinery, gets sold up, and I mean that's game. This is just, yeah. Well, oh come on, Berat, don't blame lag. This is yeah, it's quite a disappointing game, to be honest. I mean, we know it's, yeah, not the best game, to be honest. It's kind of just one-sided, and it just seems like Berat just doesn't know what he's doing in this game. I know I've seen him in a previous series before, one against Liquid Ocelots / Anti-Darwin, and it was a bit disappointing. So, I mean, yes, he beats 0010, but it just looks like he's out of his depth in this series, to be honest. With the two games that he played Soviets, the strategies just didn't make any sense. So I'm kind of hoping that it's just Soviets that he's not very good with, and maybe his Empire and Allies are slightly better. But anyway, let's go into game number 5. Hello and welcome to game number 5 here on Temple Prime. Quickly fix this hotkey bug, and there we go. So on the left of the map we have the random Soviets again. On the left of the map it is Berat in the green. On his map of choice, Cuban Republic. Temple Prime, sorry. On the right, his opponent in the cyan, it is AA. Currently up 3-1 series on match point. This is potentially going to be the last game of the tournament, if you can manage to take the win this time around. Starting off with a 4 dojos opener. Essentially very standard on this map. Again, like I've said, surely if you've watched these streams many times before, essentially just allows you to potentially go for both these Alderichs. It's quite easy to get both of them as Empire. Essentially, well, it's guaranteed that you at least get one of them if you're against a one barrack start from the Soviets, because essentially you can only go for one of them at a time. If the Soviets goes for double barracks, one at each, there's a chance. How did that not get the crush? I've got no idea. How did that not get the crush? Anyway, engineer coming on out the dojo, moving out of position, and now it's gonna simply allow the engineer to move on in. Bit of a blunder there, and essentially now, because the Imperial Warriors are out of position, now the dojo might just simply get 3 flag troopers. Wow, that's a lot of flag troopers. Where are the bears? We're gonna have to come up quickly. He's gonna lose some of these flags. There goes the first one. And now luckily he's got like 50 million flag troopers here, so he's gonna actually be able to get these. Yeah, if he focused, yeah, he's gonna get it eventually. But that was a cost-inefficient trade from the Soviets. Wow. Anyway, just now going for that mecha bay, a little bit behind, but having spent all that money on the flags, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money that he wasted there. Granted, yeah, I guess he didn't get the older X, so it probably maybe even evens out. But either way, not good for the Empire. Well, not good for either side, really. I guess at this stage, there's nothing guarding this mecha base, so really, what he could do with that turret drone is simply stun the front on force fire on the ground and stop anything from coming out. There's nothing. He would have to force the collector off the line to stop that. Because, of course, force firing with a turret drone in front of the mecha bay can stun it can stun up to 3 units indefinitely. Of course, if you force the unit out, if you force the turret drone to simply move, then you can no longer do that force fire anymore. So simply moving out of position and then moving out again means you can only stun 1. Anyway, moving forward with a Tengu here. Looking to potentially try and get some damage done, some harassment, scouting forward, getting caught out of position by that turret drone, getting picked off by that tank there. Coming in once again. Oh, okay, so pretty greedy start. So consider he's sending all these Tengus forward to try and get some aggression in, but if he wanted to do this to try and threaten your opponent while you go for an expansion, you don't use them. You don't overcommit with them. You might use them if you get an insane opening, yeah, but I mean you wouldn't waste them like that, and you wouldn't attack like this. So you're just gonna scout around, try and find an opening, and just essentially hope that your opponent gets out of position. Maybe go to the high ground, or do something like that. Just go where your army isn't, where your opponent's army isn't. But now the bear's coming around. Oh, he's thinking maybe something is up. Good intuition out of him. We'll see this third refinery, and he's gonna be happy. And AA should be happy that nothing's really threatened it at this stage. Should be happy that potentially you can go for a naval yard behind this. Whoa, okay. Greedy play. He needs a naval yard over here. So now it's being scouted. I mean, There's the terror drone. Where is the naval yard? That's gonna die. This is a greedy play out of it. Yeah, okay. Maybe. Oh, there's another. Is this bear gonna actually scout this as well? That'll be insane if he does. He's hoping to defend this with a single Tengu. I mean, to be fair, he could do it. He could do that. But he's gonna have to move it now. Is he aware? There he is. Does he get infected? Oh, yes he does. But if a Tengu gets down there and... There's a scout. Good scouting out of Berat. Although not doing really that much about it. Yeah, he's got a single turret on at the top. Really needs at least 3 more. Another one constantly going at the top. Another one constantly going to the bottom. And just keep on harassing. Same time, potentially pushing forward, getting some tanks in there. Maybe going for an airdrop. Maybe just power expanding behind it. You got the world is your oyster at that stage. But all you need to really do is just keep up the harassment. And now he's moving back. He knows that this refinery is undefended, but he's not going for it again. He's moving out of position and allowing this to mine, which is a big mistake out of him, to be honest. I don't understand his logic there. And now he's actually just going to die? Good use of that turret drone there. Excellent sacrifice for gaining nothing. Anyway, the MCV having a bit of a holiday over here. Just relaxing, slouching on his couch, while the twin blades and the MiGs coming on for some harassment. Where are the rest of the units? So there are 4 MiGs, but they're not all in position. Is this going to be enough to defend? It doesn't seem like AA really wants to commit to it. Wow, okay. MCV cell behind a 4 refinery opener. What is that? I don't know if AA is really trying that hard this game, to be honest. It seems like what he's doing is kind of just borderline trolling. I mean, yeah, to be fair, it's kind of the case that, yeah, to be fair, a single twin blade can't do the damage fast enough. So if you wanted to, you could just simply allow him to move across, kill one, rebuild your collector down at the bottom, and do a massive push at the front. To be fair, that might actually work. But either way, I mean, he could probably kill the army. He's got a huge amount of tank plus. He's going for a push, trying to break through the center. I mean, this all split up as well. He's got like 5 million units back at home. It doesn't mean no point defense stones, but the Tengus, it's not even being mindful, just in such sheer numbers, with the tank pluses and VX as well. I just think he wants to just go in for the win. Not even microders. He has too many units. His opponent didn't respond to this properly. And now that should just simply be game. MiGs come on in, tanks. That's just simply going to get shredded if it comes on forward. Yeah, he infected a single VX. And the twin blade comes back. MiGs come back as well. Could be harassing or something, doing something with it, but instead, everything going down. Going for a barracks back at home. Where is his MC? Double? What? Again, I'm speechless. Double airfield of 3 refineries. Okay, yeah, I guess maybe you can make it work if you're not spending any money on anything else on an MCV cell. Yeah. But he's doing it for the MiGs. But he doesn't need that many MiGs. Anyway, it looks like slowly but surely, AA, he's got a superior economy. He should really be, okay, that's not superior. He's got an even economy. Wow, what? What? Whoa! What just happened there? What? So AA left. I don't understand what just happened there. AA was in a commanding lead. There's no way that he could have lost that game, but he left. Okay, anyway, that's the way that game went. We'll go into the next one. I don't understand why he left that game. He could have easily won it if he just simply rebuilt the collectors, went for a push, and just kept up the aggression. But yeah, okay. Berat puts a second point on the board. We're going to game number 6. Hello, and hockey bug once again. That's fixed. Anyway, hello and welcome to game number 6 for the July 2018 Ladder Wars Finals. On the bottom left of Fire Island here, we have the red random Empire player. It is Berat. Starting off with 4 dojos. Wow, okay. Is this 4 dojos? Wow, it is. Lovely, I like to see that. In random play. Against the Cyan Empire on the top right, it is AA. So, 4 dojos. Why is this not being more aggressive? I mean, there's no point in building one at home. There's somebody send 2 over here, 2 over here, and 2 over here. Go full aggression. Tank busters, or maybe it's even further. Why are you deploying at home? And building these... I guess maybe he just simply... Maybe it's not going to be the full-on all-in that I was hoping for. I was hoping this was going to be an all-in strategy, but I don't think it will be. I think it's just going to be guaranteed capture of both the oils before going into something behind it. Maybe even... he's going to... The thing is, actually, that's not bad at all, to be fair. I kind of like this now, thinking about it. Because he's going to have the tank busters behind it. He can simply go for the sudden transport behind it, and it will put him in a good position. But simply splitting them up like this, I do not like, because he should be going around this way. But yeah, it would have been nice if it were executed correctly. But instead, the whole point of this was get both oil derricks. But instead, he's only got one of them. Now the other side, AA's happily got no pressure, and he's going to continue the push. Yeah, fair enough. There's nothing back at home, and he's going to need to get something quickly. If he wanted to keep up the aggression, he could potentially deploy this dojo behind one of these refineries. This one, maybe. Or maybe even the Mecha Bay and force the sell-off. Because of course, if you deploy one here, build walls on either side, or maybe just at the back and build walls either side, then there's no way that an engineer can be stopped. Well, I mean, there is, but no easy way. You could technically do it with the burst one. You could put like a burst one on top of here and move it over and kill it, but I mean, it doesn't even have a barracks. Anyway, I don't understand how the game's gone on to this situation that it's currently in, but nevertheless, Berat is currently going up to both oil derricks. And AA now has his Mecha Bay and now starting to be secure at home. But currently, with the way this is, with the tank buster count as it is, only got 2, so the tank buster transport isn't going to be really very powerful. Really should be going. If you wanted to go for that, I'd just simply recommend getting another dojo up and getting a few more tank busters, or maybe just building a few more before destroying it, selling it. But the way it is, tank buster transport isn't going to be great. The power of the tank buster transport is the sheer amount of damage that it can get done instantly. Take that away, and I mean, it's not that great. But he's done the same thing. I mean, a couple in a tank buster transport. Yeah. Anyway, Tengi spam starting to come out from both sides, but with the way this is, simply with the oil derricks, Berat has the advantage, and simply with that, destroys them both. Tries to even the odds a little bit, as Berat comes on in and starts to do a little bit of aggression of his own. Breaks down the first, starts to break down the first collector. The second one forced off the line as well. Has 1 Tengu falls. The rest of them come home to try and defend this as well. And it doesn't look like there's going to be any escape. This is full commitment. Will he get them or not? And I don't think he will. He can block it off. That's 3 Tengus dead. 4 Tengus dead, in fact. All for a little bit of lost mining time. Excellent defense out of AA there. And I think that's potentially just maybe even winning the game. That was a huge pick-off. And especially picking off both those oil derricks as well. That was a nice move. But with the current state of things, I think it's going to have to take a huge mistake out of AA if he's going to lose this game. 1 Tengu drops into this refinery. If he wanted to, he could drop all the rest of them now, focus down these tank busters, break down all the Tengus one by one, and just simply go for the win. Actually, scratch that. There's only there's too few Tengus. Is this going to be a Tengu spam again? And seeing how this went on Infinity Isle and I believe another game beforehand, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but the Tengu spams seem to go in favour of Berat, at least in the skies. The focus fire from AA has been a little bit lacking, today at least. But we're going to be seeing Tengu spam from both sides, and we're going to be seeing a long, drawn-out game. I'm kind of hoping that Berat doesn't. I'm kind of hoping that Berat does either wins the game right away, or loses the game right away. Because if he gets a slight advantage, he will bring us a repeat of Infinity Isle, and I do not want that. Tank busters come on in and get nothing done. As I said, tank busters are powerful if they can do a lot of damage. Imperial Warriors in a transport, I mean, they are useless. And again, as I said before as well, tank buster transports, keep them with your Tengus. They're very powerful. Force the engagements on the ground, bring the tank buster transport forward, and stop the retreat with the Tengus. Yes, it's less important when the Tengu counts are so high, but that's how you use them. 7 Tengus versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Well, definitely favouring the Cyan player, and Point Frenzy is now coming out. AA potentially going for a killing blow. Moving across the map. MCV going to be breaking his own wall down to be given a normal move. Gonna have to reverse the deploy there. Tier 2 actually. So that was why he was behind on units. But dropping again. Slight harassment. Again, I fear that this is going to go the same way as Infinity Isle, because the harassment is happening in the same way. Although this time he's actually bringing some more of the Tengus in as well at the same time. Gets one of the Tengus, gets one of the collectors. Going a little bit better for AA this time. He's going to simply retreat now, cut his losses, and maybe tech up, go tier 2, maybe even spam some more Tengus and just go for this third refinery of his own. Tier 2 and an expansion will be a nice move now. But the Tengu's out of Berat, breaking on out of his base, moving on forward. See, this is more or less how you do it, except maybe not quite like this. Move in when your opponent's out of position, but he does have these units at home. If he had 2, 1 here and 1 here, it maybe would be okay. But nevertheless, forcing a little bit of lost mining time. Decent harassment there. Tengu coming on in once again, but these 2 VXs should be out cleaning up without too much of an issue there. So with the collected dead, he seems to be wanting to get some sort of damage done, but I mean, he's going to fall behind on units unless he goes for some sort of MCV cell. And he's already behind on units. So the response was simply tier 2 out of AA there, but no expansion, simply just keeping up the unit count. I mean, to be honest, as you can see, the unit count is already so heavily in favour of him. If he wanted to go for an expansion, he could have. He could even do one now if he wanted. But I think he just wants to try and end it. Simply straight, pure VX and Tengu. Taken to the skies. Essentially the way that you do this is you lift off to the skies, put all the Tengu, get all the Tengus with the VXs, focus down all your opponent's VXs on the ground, and hope to simply just keep air superiority. The tanks in this instance are useless. That's what he's going for. He's going to go in for the killing blow. Only 2 VXs there. So he should be able to really get this. He's got 4 VXs of his own, probably more coming behind this as well. But we're going to see on how this goes. Of course, he's going to have to focus down the VXs in the skies with his own VXs and maybe use a couple of Tengus. But he's not committing. I really just want to see him simply commit to the engagement and go for the kill right now, because he's got the advantage. He can't really lose it. But he's not going for it. Is he going for an expansion? There is no way that he could lose that fight if he went in now. But he's still being hesitant. And indeed, it does seem to be a repeat of Infinity Isle, except the other way around this time. One player who could potentially just win the game outright if he just simply attacked. But not. Oh, now he's going for tanks. The strategy that I just literally told you could have won the game, but now he's not going for it and he's not expanding. He's going for tanks. I just don't understand it. Anyway, tanks coming on forward. He's going to want to make a push. Hopefully now this will be the killing blow. I think he's going to want to keep everything on the ground. Maybe lift a couple of the VX stuff if he can. But he's at least looking to actually get the kill. Berat at home, trying to hold the fort. Bit of a bad position considering his MCV is kind of blocking off half his units. This engagement to fight definitely favours the Cyan, and not to mention the fact that he simply has the superior army. But he's not taking the fight. He's falling back again. And we're still waiting. Still no expansion. Seriously, I mean, Berat hasn't been able to move out of his base for the past 10 minutes. That's when you expand. If you've got such a lead that your opponent can't harass you. Ooh, almost getting the kill over, not quite finishing the job. Just more and more units coming out. This is a repeat of the game before. Essentially, both players have an even economy, and the both just building units, waiting for their opponent to make a mistake that they're not going to make. AA could attack and win this. Probably has less of a chance of winning it now, to be honest, because now the unit army size in terms of cost is minimized because they're both just building at the same rate. Finally, we're seeing an expansion. Something's coming this game. Finally, we're seeing an expansion. So at least we're seeing some development in the game, which is what we weren't getting before. So this is essentially going to mean, finally, he's going to be producing units at a higher rate. He's going to have more units. I don't understand why he's falling back though, because I mean, his army, despite the fact that he's spent 2,500 credits on his refinery, is still vastly superior. Splitting off his units, scouting around with his Tengiz, looking for maybe if there's a hidden refinery, just making sure there isn't one, which is smart enough to be fair. Because that would have potentially been a way that the Berat could have maybe got back in if he managed to sneak a refinery in and get some extra hidden mining in that his opponent wasn't aware of. But with the way things are going, I mean, it's just going to snowball from here. Berat's finally moving on out. I kind of just want to see him push now, because this is kind of the perfect time to attack. Seeing as the army differential in terms of size this is not a good engagement. You don't attack through the center if you've got an army like this, because of this massive choke point inside here. You want to move around the side, so you've got all of this space to work with. But he's going to be moving on in. And AA should really be repositioning his units here, just making a formation here with his tanks. But instead taking a worse position on his fight, moving on back, maybe not happy with the way he's engaging. And the tanks moving on forward. Now, because of the way that this game has gone, like I've said, the army size has kind of matched a little bit. It's kind of going to be a lot closer than it potentially could have been if it happened a lot sooner. The X's and 10U's left to the skies, try to focus everything down on the ground. A couple of the X's, 3 of the X's still alive on the ground for the red player. Not focusing down with the X's in the skies from blue, which is really the problem. Oh my god. Is Berat going to win this fight? Okay, that was dangerously close, but I think AA is just going to take that. That was far closer than it really should have been. There's no way that this game should have went on as long as it has to allow a fight to be that close. But nevertheless, I mean, he's won the fight, he's got the expansion. Maybe now he can go in and just win the game. Maybe now he will, but seeing as the way this game's gone, I mean, he probably won't. He's probably just going to wait 20 more minutes before actually attacking. Another expansion here, potentially. Another expansion, so it's going to put him even further ahead. But again, just wasting it really, just wasting a Tengu. Getting a little lost mining time just to do some harassment. Not really the best harassment, but wasting a unit. Finally, we're going to the water, so now it's going to be 4 refineries versus 2. Slowly but surely, AA has to win this game. MCV packed up to try and force the army back, to hold the army at bay for the time being. But it's losing a bit of health. Tanks are starting to be focused down now. VX taking a huge amount of damage, does just about stay alive. But I think this should be the killing blow. Now the tanks come out and try and defend. One of them does go down. Really has to keep every unit alive. To be honest, I would. Honestly, this is not a way that Berat can win this now. Comes in the fast. I think he got the collector there, but nevertheless, did lose to Tengu in the meantime. And I mean, with a superior economy, he doesn't really care about that. He's got far more units. Going for barracks now, so potentially some infantry to back this up, some tank busters. If he wanted to, he could maybe just even go for a second mecha bay. Or even a 5th refinery and a second mecha bay and go for tier 2 on both. Take up to tier 3, I mean, the possibilities are endless when you're this far ahead. There's really not a way that you can lose the game. Unless you just sacrifice units left, right and centre like this. Whoa! I don't know why that didn't get a kill there. I don't know how that didn't get the kill. Somehow it didn't though. And Berat lives to see another day. So now the tank busters and the units from the mecha base streaming across the map, looking, I hope, finding
the tsunami rises.
No enemy is too big.
Tank busters and tanks coming across the map as Berat starts to move out with his minuscule, if I can call it an army, rabble of units. Oh, there goes the collector. Question is this going to fall to MCV cell? Finally an MCV cell comes out. But this is too little too late. I mean, there's nothing that an engineer and the extra credits from the MCV cell, which you didn't even get the full amount of because it wasn't even full health. There's nothing that can do at this stage in the game. As AA moves forward, goes for the killing blow. A couple of tank busters do get crushed down by these tsunami tanks. And now comes on forward. I mean, the rest of the army is out of position. He's not attacking with his whole army, and Berat somehow takes a relatively decent trade. But I mean, nevertheless, the numbers are just so low in comparison that even with a cost-effective trade, he's just not going to simply take the win. Rolling on forward / flying on forward, going for the final production structure, going for this mecha bay, and with this, will indeed secure the victory of this tournament for AA. Well done to him. Finally, we're going to see an end to this series. And finally, we're going to see an end to this tournament. It's been an unusual one, to say the least. And, yeah. There we go. Just this power plant surviving. Power plant remaining. And there we go. AA will indeed take a 4-2 victory over Berat in this event. So well done to him. And I don't know about you, but I'm glad that series is over. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been JVH Michael. I'll see you guys next time.